So hello brothers and sisters, this is a video report from your national leader. First of all, I want to apologize for the delay. I wanted to send a report at least once a month, and I didn't send a report at the end of September. So this will be a report for both the months of September and October. I hope you have been enjoying as much as I have the changing of the seasons recently. It's beautiful. We're experiencing beautiful autumnal weather at the moment. I like to reflect on how life also has seasons, and we go through different seasons in life. Some of us might be in the springtime of life, with a lot to look forward to ahead of us. Some of us might be in the summertime of life, with lots of things going on. Maybe some of us are harvesting in the autumn season of life, and others maybe are heading and preparing for the winter of life, towards the end of life. And indeed, our UK community recently said farewell to two precious members, an elder brother and an elder sister. Towards the beginning of September, we said goodbye to Jeff Humans. We had the Songhua ceremony and Won John ceremony for him, and also very recently, just a few days ago, we also had the Songhua ceremony for Mary Franklin. So two beloved members of our communities from Scotland and from Central London church community, and of course there's some sadness there, but also we know that we will see these brothers and sisters when we ourselves make our final journey home and return to the spirit world. Myself, I also had the privilege of attending the Songhua ceremony of Mr. Fritz Piepenburg, a German brother who was one of the three members who are taking responsibility for the German movement. And his Songhua ceremony actually took place just a few days before Auntie Mary's Songhua ceremony. So I had the privilege of representing the United Kingdom in going to Germany and attending the Songhua ceremony there. I actually, that was the second time I've been to Germany recently. I also went to Germany a few weeks prior to that in order to participate at a European leaders meeting. So leaders representing Family Federation, Women's Federation, and the Universal Peace Federation all met together in our seminar center in Neumühle, near the town of Bad Camberg, for many meetings to reflect on how local communities and nations can create a European-wide strategy. So I was able to share with many other national leaders and community leaders there to talk about how we're developing things. And some of the conversations were very, very helpful, very exciting. And actually, that wasn't the only place in Europe I visited over the last couple of months. Towards the beginning of 2015, I had been invited to visit Finland for a weekend. And despite becoming the national leader, that was a commitment I wanted to keep. I didn't want to break my promise to the Finnish community. So I spent a weekend there as well, meeting many of the brothers and sisters, sharing some talks, some seminars, and just being with the community there. It was really precious for me to see brothers and sisters, to relate intimately. One of those missions, one of the 5 R's from the mission statement, to relate intimately with brothers and sisters in the local community in Helsinki in Finland. That idea of relating intimately, I've also been trying to cultivate in our local communities, and something which I've started, which I will spend the next few months doing, is visiting communities around the whole country. I really want to spend a good 2 or 3, even 3 days visiting each local community to meet with brothers and sisters, to talk about anything that brothers and sisters want to talk about. I don't really have an agenda. I just want to, in a sense, scout out how things are, find out what the realities of the situations of our blessed families are, what those realities are like around the country in our different communities. So far, I spent some time with the Central London church community and also with the Manchester community, visiting Sheffield and Manchester, and meeting with brothers and sisters who although they travel to Manchester or Bolton for their community activities, actually they're very spread out all across the country. It's very inspiring to me to recognize and realize how diverse a community we have. And I'm very much looking forward to visiting many of the other communities over the next few months. One of the other missions that I articulated as part of the mission statement, which I'm offering for our community here in the UK, was to reach the world, that we want to be reaching the world. And I've been able to meet with some of the departments, some of the ministries of our UK Unificationist community to see how they are doing in reaching the world. I was able to spend some time with the brothers and sisters working with the Association for British Clergy. These are Unificationist brothers and sisters who are trying to work especially with Christian ministers, to serve them, to work with them, it's inspiring for me to see their passion to work with British Christian clergy, and I'm hopeful that their work can develop and expand. Also, I had a fantastic meeting recently with the board of the International Relief Friendship Foundation, IRFF. So again, here in this country, we have a group of dedicated individuals, brothers and sisters, who care for the rest of the world, who recognize that there is extreme poverty and in many places in the world where there is a need for education and sustainable development, and even just serving people's basic health needs. So it was very inspiring to see that there are brothers and sisters who are raising funds and coordinating activities to deliver relief and also friendship through this vehicle, through this charitable vehicle. I also had a really inspiring talk with the people responsible for the Universal Peace Federation to see what they're doing currently. It's, for me, inspiring to see how they are creating a clearer vision for what they plan to do in the future. They want to focus on key areas. And one of the projects which really inspired me was almost like a religious youth service project to work with young people in this country to combat radicalization, but to foster interfaith harmony and interfaith friendship amongst especially young people of different faith communities. And also in the last few weeks, there have been some very interesting projects regarding young people. I've been in communication with Miss Ruth Johnson, who's responsible for HARP, for our ministry to the secondary age students. But also we've been developing a CARP project. It has experienced some challenges, and I've been quite frustrated over the last couple of months, and I think I share that frustration with many of the other people who are developing this project. Basically, what we wanted to do was to create a CARP center, create a CARP house where students, Unificationist students, many of whom are second generation, who have a strong evangelical passion, they want to move in together, live together, and work together to reach out to students on campus and transform their lives, give them resurrection through teaching divine principle and creating an environment of true love. There have been some difficulties along the way. We haven't been able to find a property, so we've abandoned the idea of renting a property, and hopefully instead we will now channel our efforts into purchasing a property while making the most of the properties that we already have. So I think that CARP project will be launching any day now, hopefully next week, with a plan for activities over the next few weeks and months. And who knows, maybe next spring or next summer, we may have found a way to purchase a property to expand this very important project for students and young people. During the last month, I was also I had the privilege of welcoming Dr. Kim to visit the UK and deliver a presentation about the Universal Peace Academy. For us, it was a chance to ask him questions and just hang out with him, really. But also he was able to deliver a presentation about this program, which is being offered in Korea. So one of the things I'm really excited about reporting to you is that we are getting our education department up and running. There's been a few small hoops to jump through in order to do it properly, but we should be appointing an education director very shortly and building a team around that person. We've got budget earmarked for that. I'm very excited to report. And so hopefully in 2016, our educational element of our movement's activities will expand and grow. I'm also keen to develop a media department, and some discussions have taken place about developing that. But what I've discovered really is that in order to make these departments work and in order to get things done, we do need a spirit of volunteerism. Absolutely. I really want to encourage people to volunteer and to serve in whatever way possible. But to make things work, we do need some budget. And what I've recognized is that there's very little wriggle room, actually, in terms of our national level finances, in terms of providing salaries and budgets for all the various departments. We're running a very tight budget. And what inspires me is to see that we have a group of brothers and sisters who are working very hard to maintain and look after the assets that we have, to make sure that our capital is being well managed, and to make sure that there is funds available to support our movement's activities. So as I say, there isn't a lot of room for creating new budgets and new departments. However, I might like to. Nevertheless, the people I'm working with, the finance committee, they're always looking for opportunities to cut costs where we can and to invest funds to support the mission on the ground. And again, I would like to express my gratitude to those folks who are looking after our properties and maintaining our properties. I could attend a meeting recently with them to hear about how they're doing, and I've got nothing but praise for them. And it's great to see how we have a group of people who are working together to make sure that these assets aren't just crumbling into neglect or disrepair, but are being invested into and well looked after, and also being offered for public purposes. So maybe you remember back in August, the whole country had the opportunity to vote on a restructuring proposal. Well, that proposal was voted through. So now we have the opportunity to implement the proposals that were made. And we have a steering committee to basically help me implement those proposals. It's going to take time. It will probably take months, if not years, to make all the changes that were suggested in those proposals. And it's going to be a fluid process. That proposal is not fixed in stone. If we can think of better ways of doing things, then we may adapt it as we go along. Nevertheless, I'm happy to report that I'm in communication with the community pastors. I will be having a conference call with them in a couple of days, and we will be meeting all together towards the end of November to begin preparing for our inaugural Council of Communities meeting to take place towards the end of January. At that Council of Communities meeting, I want to make sure that there's representation not only from the local community pastors, but also from some young representatives of the community and any other representative of the community who wants to come and participate in the conversation, whereby communities can get together and decide what we need and what we want to do together to support the local communities, because that's really where we're going to make a difference. I don't believe we can make a difference on the national level except through the local community. I believe strongly in empowering and developing the local communities. And so I'm really looking forward to that inaugural Council of Communities members, whereby each community can have up to 3 representatives from their local community attend that meeting and contribute to the discussions that take place then. Shortly afterwards, maybe in March, after the God's Day and Foundation Day events of February. So probably in March, that's when we'll have our first meeting of the National Council. So between now and March, I will create an ad hoc council that we can communicate with loosely, but our first National Council meeting will take place probably in March 2016. That's something which I'm looking forward to. For now, for the time being, I want to simply report to you my gratitude for all of your efforts in your blessed families and in your communities. I wish you lots of blessings in this month of November, and especially since November is a month of remembrance, as we remember many of the wars of the 20th century, and we also remember saints and beloved loved ones who have passed on. I come back to the thoughts at the beginning of this video message where we prayerfully thank and wish well those members of our community who have recently ascended. So, thank you.